Eagle looking great. Your go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Sci-Fi Wise Guys. My name is Chris.
And my name's Anthony.
Here on the Sci-Fi Wise Guys, we watch and review science fiction and science fiction adjacent visual entertainment media. And every once in a while, we come up with a theme, a skit, a prank, maybe not a prank.
Gimmick.
A bit. And in this one, we decided to go ahead and do the 39th and a half year anniversary of the Ninja Turtles franchise. In that, we were watching a Netflix original movie by Nickelodeon, apparently. Mm-hmm. Rise of the Ninja Turtles, the movie. Anthony.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Rise of, the movie.
Anthony, had you ever heard of this particular iteration of the franchise? I assume yes, because of your fandom.
I had not seen any of it. I am in the not super small group of people that really enjoyed the 2012 kind of CGI rendition of the Turtles. And then that went for 5 years, and then they immediately, like, as soon as they canceled that, they started this.
Oh.
And so it was kind of a weird, like, why are you getting rid of the thing I like to replace it with this, which is meant for, even a younger audience, right?
Yeah.
Like, Turtles is already meant for a young audience, and this was meant for an even younger one.
Okay.
So I knew about it, but I never watched an episode, never really looked into it. I thought it was weird looking. And so this is my first exposure to it, is watching the capstone movie after they I've read a lot.
8 seasons, yeah.
No, they did 2 seasons, cutting the second one short, canceling the third, and then doing this movie to kind of wrap everything up, I guess.
Okay.
And it's also weird that it premiered on Netflix when it's a Nickelodeon show. I thought Nickelodeon shows premiered on Paramount Plus, but maybe this was like done before that. It's like everything's so fluid. Nothing is more fluid than streaming services.
I bet the contract's already been signed.
Right.
So even after Nickelodeon was acquired by Paramount or what, I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Or after CBS All Access became Paramount Plus and included Nickelodeon, they already had, right? Like,
yeah, who knows?
It's so weird, yeah.
I'm going to ask you a strange question.
Please.
And just let me land this plane.
Okay.
Do you know what an Oldsmobile is?
Yes.
Okay, so in the early aughts, GM realized that, because they're like the way that General Motors, at the time the world's largest automaker, used to work, is they had the Chevrolet, which was like the base model, like entry level vehicle, and then directly above it was Buick, and then directly above that was Oldsmobile, and then above that was Cadillac, and then somewhere off to the side was GMC, specifically for trucks.
Right.
So, I'm sorry, Chevrolet, Buick / Pontiac, then Oldsmobile, Cadillac. At some point, they realized that it doesn't make any sense in the modern day to have Oldsmobile, because you were either going to buy a Buick or you were going to buy a Cadillac. There was no real reason to buy an Oldsmobile.
To buy it in between, yeah. That makes sense to me.
They did this marketing strategy called not your dad's or your grandfather's Oldsmobile. And they completely redesigned everything. They redesigned the logo. They used to have a really rad looking rectangle logo. You can Google it. And it was a fantastic flop. And within a few short years, they canceled the brand. Then they did the same thing with Pontiac a few years later.
So like when we look up the logos here,
so the
this is like
thing.
this is the redesigned one, the one with
quote
like,
unquote
circle,
newest,
quote unquote. And then which one was the
middle? That one, and over to the right a little bit down, those like where it has like the weird.
Oh, yeah. It looks like almost like a airplane
or a dart
or a peace
something.
or a peace sign, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I say I give you all that. I feel like this was Nickelodeon's attempt at saying, hey, you know all those Ninja Turtles before this? Those are your granddad's Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, the one we released 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's for old people.
Well, like and we'll talk about it here in a minute, but I feel like it's such a huge divergence from the rest of the media that I've seen.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just giving you, that is my first thought that popped into my head as I started watching it. And I was like, oh, this is like that Oldsmobile thing. It literally was my first thought when I was watching it. So
that's interesting. Just to continue, do you know who? Did you see me look up the world's largest automaker?
Well,
while I was doing.
Well, at
no,
the
no,
time
like
it was
today.
General Motors.
Do you know who it is today?
Toyota, I assume.
Yeah, it's Toyota. But
Yeah.
apparently Toyota and Volkswagen like leapfrog. Like one year it'll be one, next year it'll be the other. So, yeah,
Wow.
GM down at number 4 right now.
Yeah.
Below Japan, Germany, and South Korea. And that includes their Chinese companies that they own, which is, I don't know, man. We're falling off. Ford. Ugh.
Well, and before we get
this
too
is not a
deep
car
into,
podcast.
Yeah, before we get too deep into it. So at the time, General Motors owned like 12 brands.
Oh, they own a ton. Absolutely.
Well, I'm saying like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, they owned like they owned a bunch of different brands, and that's why like there's like F bodies, G bodies, A bodies, were all the same car, just slightly different levels of trim and different cosmetic features.
I just remember you get a Chevy Suburban, or you can get a Tahoe, or they're all the same car. Yeah,
like the Buick Regal,
yeah,
Pontiac Grand Prix, the Chevrolet Monte Carlo, the Oldsmobile Cutlass. They were literally the same vehicle, just
the
slightly
same frame.
different.
They're just branded. It's literally branding. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
And then people were like, "Why would I buy a slightly less shitty version of this car when I can get a car that's not shitty at all for the exact same price?"
Yeah.
Boom, Toyota Camry.
Oh man, good old Camry. Look, listeners, we're gonna get back on topic here, but if you want us to do an episode where we maybe interview some people, do some independent research on the history of General Motors, let us know. We will definitely throw that as a bonus episode. Just if there's any topic that we've kind of gone off on and had to reroute to that you're like, man, I wish I could listen to them talk about that for a couple hours. Let us know.
I know so much about General Motors vehicles. I don't even want to talk about the hours that I've spent on Wikipedia just like, the Pontiac Catalina. Oh, it's the same thing as a Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
It's got two headlights instead of one headlight on each side. Holy shit.
My initial thought of this, like my initial reaction, then we'll get into some facts. Actually, I'm going to share my first two initial reactions. My first initial reaction is, what language are they speaking? Because they were speaking Hindi, and I had to change it to English. I don't know why. I was just like, wait a minute. What did he say? I turned it up. I was like, no, that is not English. My second thought was TMNT Mystic Force. Like it felt like that one weird season of Power Rangers. It's just, anyways. We can dive more into that. Also, Michelangelo grew hair. Okay, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: the movie is a 2022 American animated superhero film. Obviously, we already mentioned it's from Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon bought the Ninja Turtles like 2011 or so, 2010, something like that. So everything since then has made Nickelodeon money. And of course, this was released on Netflix. There's a poster because we've kind of messed up our format a little bit, but look, there's a poster with all of the characters in it. Interesting designs. Let's go over to our IMDb blurb. When a mysterious stranger arrives from the future with a dire warning, Leo is forced to rise and lead his brothers, Raph, Donnie, and Mikey, in a fight to save the world from a terrifying alien species. This is sitting at 6.1 with 6,100 ratings on IMDb. Scrolling down here, the unweighted mean is 8.1.
Wow.
54% of the votes being a 10 definitely feels like some rating.
That looks like
some
Coke
botting.
nail.
A what?
A Coke nail.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, watch Return of the Jedi and pay attention to Princess Leia's fingernails.
Yeah. Wow. Moving on. Over on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got 79% fresh with a 94% audience score.
Yeah.
Not a lot of reviews, 14, but this is a direct-to-stream movie made for children. So we're reviewing it under that lens for sure. Metacritic has this thing at a 61 with a user score of 7.8 based on 30 ratings, which is not what I expected. I like this, regardless of whether or not you like Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or not, we can all agree that the Batman vs. TMNT is a better movie than this.
78%, 7.8%. Jeez. On
It's
Metacritic.
Metacritic. Nuts.
69% of Google users like this movie.
Nice.
Nice.
Wrapping it up with the Letterboxd 3.5 out of 5 stars. So put up at a 7. So right around where everything else is. Yeah, was not expecting IMDb to be like it was, where it's been reviewed. It's not review bombed. What is it when it's mass reviews to make it a 10?
I think you still consider it
Is it a review bomb?
Yeah.
It's just not bombing, I guess.
Yeah.
Side note, the official soda of the Sci-Fi Wise Guys rebranded.
Oh.
Yeah, it took me a minute to find them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's got an interest. I like that can.
Yeah. The problem is I can't really show it to you because I'd have to turn it sideways.
No, I got
and it's open.
Yeah. No, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
I see it.
All right. So generally favorable, maybe a little mixed, I think is what the people are telling us here. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings. But I also have some questions, Chris, and I think that's how I'm going to approach this one. I'm going to ask you some questions. Is that okay?
Right. Hit me.
Okay. So we open up. This movie opens up. We got Leonardo. It's the year 2044. It's obviously an apocalypse. It's very much like the Sting to Zack Snyder's Justice League, where it's the future and there's just war everywhere, and there's these machine or monsters or something that are attacking them, and it's a young Casey Jones and an older Leonardo, and Casey Jones refers to Leonardo as sensei, obviously like his master or whatever, his ninja master. Leonardo is holding a picture of the Turtles and Splinter and April O'Neil from the past / present. He draws a thing on the back of it, hands the picture to Casey Jones, and I'm skipping past some stuff. Sends Casey Jones back into the past.
Yeah, straight
to find the
up
item.
Terminator style.
Were you expecting a full-on Terminator parody being like that's kind of where the Terminator stuff ends, honestly.
Yeah.
But were you? I was like, oh, he's gonna fall in love with April. Oh, look like I was full on expecting like a Terminator time loop.
His son is going to be Leonardo.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Ooh. Like he goes back too far. He is Yamato Yoshi, like that type of thing. Like how much were you expecting? Like at what point were you disappointed that the Terminator references stopped?
I mean, like I disappointed maybe isn't the right word, but like no, I was just like, oh, cool. So Terminator style.
Yeah,
excellent.
100%.
And then we immediately moved on, and I was like, okay, cool. Like I just don't know what else they could have done to where it wouldn't have been too right here
on the nose. Yeah. I would have loved it. I would totally take
like
a full blown TMNT Terminator parody remake. I'm in 100%.
Because he couldn't show up naked.
No,
right?
It's a children's show.
Well, no, you don't have to show him naked. It could just be like, why is everyone looking at me? And then he holds up his arms and he's not wearing any clothes on his arms. And then he's like, and then we change the scene or whatever. But
but then we wouldn't get the cool chainsaw hockey stick.
Of course. I literally cannot disagree with that statement.
which is, I think I might have paused it in the opening sequences when he starts using that thing, because I was like, this is amazing. Like this is really cool. Like
wait a minute.
Any of the grappling hook. There's a lot of things, like it's hard for me to criticize this show because it's 100% not made for me. Like I am not the target audience. I'm not a 6-year-old child. I do not have 6-year-old children. It's 100% not made for me. So like the little bit of the small humor and stuff, the juvenile humor, it's whatever, right? But there are a lot of things I thought were pretty cool. I thought that the turtles, the design of them aside, I like that they're all different shapes and sizes. And I looked it up because they talk like Donatello has like I don't know what you call it, like a body armor shell, like a hard shell on his back, because he's a soft shell turtle. So I looked it up. I read a lot of Wikipedia after watching this movie. They're all 4 different types of turtles.
That's neat.
So Raphael is huge, and his back, if you notice, is all kind of spiky because he's an alligator snapping turtle. Michelangelo looks more like your traditional Ninja Turtle because he's a box turtle. Donatello is a soft shell turtle of some type, and Leonardo is he has the red markings on his face because he's a red-faced whatever type of turtle that has those types of markings. I thought that was really, really cool. Like seeing different, not just them have variation like we've seen in some other, I mean, basically everything else we've researched or watched this past month, but them to be completely different types of turtles was pretty cool. Master Splinter's like the seal or the symbol on his
It's just a pizza.
It's just a pizza.
I think it's also on the back of April's jacket.
It is, yeah. It's like their symbol or what have you. I thought that was pretty
Their
interesting.
sigil, whatever.
The house sigil or whatever.
I think it's called a mon.
A mon.
MON.
I'm gonna look it up. Mon. An emblem. Also called Moncho or Mondokoro are Japanese emblems used to decorate and identify an individual, a family, or more recently, an institution or business entity. Okay, a mon. Interesting.
Yeah, look,
Japanese emblems.
I got really into a tabletop trading card game, collectible card game called Legend of the Five Rings, and I know a lot about fictional Japan, quote unquote Japan.
My only exposure to Legend of the Five Rings was I believe it's the card game Love Letter has a Legend of the Five Rings version, which is pretty neat. I've played it a few times, like the art on it. If you've never played Love Letter, really fun game. Takes about 8 minutes. Yeah. I think the version I have is not the Legend of the Five Rings version. I don't know where you would find that, but interesting. Very interesting. I didn't hate this. I thought that the animation was like not style, but the animation in general was fine. The action sequences are really well done. I liked a lot of the tricks they did with like depth in the battlefield. Like I want to call it parallax. Like it reminded me of playing like a Super Nintendo game and like having things move at different speeds. It looked really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. I liked the homage to the original theme song at the very end, which a lot of things are doing. Overall, I enjoyed it. This is a completely different take on the Ninja Turtles. Completely different. I would be fine if it didn't existed. I'm fine that it does exist. It's better than the Next Mutation TV show. Venus isn't in it, so I guess that's a plus. How did you feel about it, Chris?
I really felt. I also didn't hate it. I think there were a lot of like fun moments. Like I laughed a couple times, teared up a little bit towards the end there, as you should if you've got any sort of ability to stand on the scale of human emotions. You're not a sociopath.
Not a sociopath.
While I was watching it, two things stood out. One, April O'Neil breaks into East Laird University.
Yeah.
I also feel like this is the very first time I've ever seen a Ninja Turtles anime. And that's what I felt while I was watching this. Because, like, if one of the things, especially with, like, there's different types of anime, and I'm not well versed in it, but I know the very few that I've watched or other animated series that have been influenced by anime when, like, there's several moments where Mikey and Donnie, they get really frustrated and it, like, their face contorts and their eyes get really big, or they get the lines pointing towards their head.
Yeah,
like they're stressed or whatever. Like for me, that's from anime.
Sure,
and it's
definitely influenced by Japanese
and
animation.
It's seeped into other types of animation, which I am not complaining about that.
Not at all. No.
It's an artistic choice. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. That's not my problem. But I felt like when I was watching this in anime, all of the like their superpowers, like their quote unquote mystic abilities, I felt like I was watching like Naruto. Like, but just with Ninja Turtles instead. Like all the like their like Michelangelo's nunchucks apparently are like giant chains.
Yeah,
like that's cool. Like the different like Donatello. I guess he's a Green Lantern.
Essentially,
like, materialize like anything. Like I guess all of them, but when they're
getting their powers taken or back or whatever in the movie. Spoilers for this children's movie. And they're all like, there's a center flame and it's showing their other flames go around it. His is actually digital. I don't know if you noticed that. It's like pixelated, which I thought was really, really cool. Yeah.
Leonardo's is like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that within the Ninja Turtles franchise where like, yeah, they're ninjas, but we don't really get into the mysticism very much. Like you get a little bit in the first movie when they're able to like project their chi or whatever.
A little astral projection. Yeah.
Yeah. And outside of time travel in the third one,
that's not like really ninja mysticism, but
the second one doesn't really have any. The third, like the TMNT movie from 2009 or whatever, doesn't really have it.
the Next Mutation, the live action show from the 90s, had a lot of like some mysticism and astral projection and things like that in it.
Okay.
And that was not great and didn't do very well. So I imagine like, oh, they tried and then this was something different.
It was
but
also
who knows?
a
Who
cheaply
knows?
produced live action television show.
How dare you insult Saban?
How much time you got? I got like 45 minutes on Robotech. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Listeners, if you would like us to spend 45 minutes recording Chris go off about Robotech, let us know.
I'm ready, Saban. No, I like it's a different take for sure, but
yeah,
I could definitely feel the very, very adolescent targeting. Like, and it sounds weird when I say that target the adolescents.
I mean, they have a target audience of less than 10 years old. Yeah,
sure. But like, I feel like a lot of my nephew probably would have enjoyed this when he was around that age. So would my niece. It was a lot of fun. Like like their interactions. I think it again. This is also might just be my limited access to some of the actual shows, but I feel like this is the first time where Leonardo was the idiot. Like spoilers in 3, 2, 1 for Idiot of the Movie.
Yeah, it's interesting. No, it caught me off guard too, having Raphael be the voice of reason, and also them to have like distinct ages. Like he's like they're not. I guess because they're different types of turtles, they don't all. And I guess every other version of them, they're quadruplets, for lack of a better term, right?
Because we don't know.
Born, right. They're all roughly born at the same time. They're all the same age. But even like reading up on it, like characters and whatnot, they're like 16, 15, and 14 or something like that. Like they're all different ages. I mean, Leonardo calls Michelangelo little brother multiple times, which I still don't understand how. Because I assume this takes place in roughly the year 2020, because that's when it released, right?
2022.
2022. So 22 years in the future. So Michelangelo's, 14, 15 years old. We'll say 15. 22 years in the future makes him, 37? Okay. Not only did he grow hair as a reptile, he then went bald and just has that's what it is, right? He has hair all around, like gray hair, and he's like floating in his chi. Well, so he was cool looking. I liked it, but I was just like, why does he have hair at all? Like, where's that story?
He used his mystical powers to grow the hair.
And then he just couldn't on top. Is that?
Well, he wore that bandana for so long.
Is that what it is?
It just damaged the follicles.
Okay.
That's what they say. If you wear a hat all the time.
It stops it from working. Interesting that you brought up the anime stuff, the anime like influences, because I had that same thought when I first watched the 2012 Turtles. It's like, there's definitely some anime influences here, where like they'll do an aside with the big, like you mentioned, like eyes going really big and the background getting all colorful or whatever, to show emotions and things like that. I think this is definitely steeped more in it. Yeah, but it's interesting. This whole thing isn't. I feel like it is an anime as opposed to the previous version where it just took some influences.
Sure.
Influences from it. How did you feel when Master Splinter said that rats are delicious? Like, how uncomfortable were you on a scale 1 to 10?
You ever seen Skyfall?
Yes, I have. Yeah, a couple more than once.
I mean,
yeah. Okay.
How do you teach rats?
Yeah.
How do you get rid of them? You you dig a hole and you. Eventually, they get hungry and they eat other rats.
That's messed up. Those movies have some pretty uncomfortable scenes in it.
Go Javier Bardem. Dang, so good.
So hard.
Flying Bark Productions and Top Draw Animation from Sydney, Australia, and the Philippines, respectively. Flying Bark. I've never really heard. I don't think I've heard of any of these, but it looks like they make just a bunch of animated stuff. Blinky Bill, the movie. It's about a koala. Surprise. But yeah, it looks like they just make a bunch of they like 1997 or 1977. That's pretty cool. Bright Spark. They made a lot of stuff. I've never seen any of these things, but it's probably because we don't live in Australia.
That would and also you're not not a kid anymore. But maybe you said some of them are older. But sure.
Yeah. Lego Monkey Kid. Oh, they made What If, the Marvel thing. Okay.
Oh, okay. Cool. That's cool.
Stranger Things, the animated series. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I haven't heard it. I didn't know that existed. The thing with Stranger Things, you know what?
Oh,
if y'all want us to review Stranger Things, let us know. We'll talk about it.
They also did, believe it or not, they did Rise of the Ninja Turtles, the animated series. So.
Oh, that makes Interesting. So near the end of the movie, April mentioned someone named Cassandra and shows pictures, and and it turns out to be like Casey Jones' mother or whatever.
Yeah.
So Cassandra, like I said, I looked up all these characters because I was just like, okay, what is happening? But Cassandra Jones goes by Casey, and it was like a gender-bendered version of Casey Jones in the Rise of the TMNT cartoon.
I'm sure a lot
member
of
the
people
Foot
complained
Clan
about
who
that,
like betrays them or what have you. But you can see in this picture here, I'm gonna pull it up. I'm on turtlepedia.fandom.com because why the heck not?
Oh, I gotta bookmark that Turtlepedia.
Yeah, we pulled this picture. Like it's like the hockey stick, but it has a blade at the end. It's just tilted. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. She's got the mask just like he does. So that's pretty cool. Foot Clan outfit. Interesting take. I don't mind the like if you're gonna, obviously it's pretty hard to gender bender characters in the Ninja Turtles, but I guess Casey Jones fair game. I'm down. I like the different take on those characters, and not to mention the take we have of Casey Jones in this, where he's a young Padawan from the future.
Yeah.
A learner, as it were. It's definitely a different take. I don't hate it. All in all, like if you have children who like anime and or cartoons, and I say children probably under 10, Rise of the TMNT seems fine. Go check it out. I mean, the movie is kind of the end of it, so you might watch the show instead. As an adult, even as a Turtles fan, I don't know if it's worth the price of subscription. Just well, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think part of it is just it's such a dramatic departure.
Yeah,
like from the other versions of the turtle, like even Mutant Mayhem, which is a movie we watched and reviewed recently, very different than some of the other ones, but still like I was going to save this for when we watched Ninja Turtles 1990. How weirdly grounded in reality that movie actually is compared to literally any other of the movies.
Yeah.
Right? Like it does like all the shows, everything else. For some reason, I feel like TMNT is like the one that, or the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the one that, like, if I saw a Ninja Turtle walking around New York, I'd be like, what is that? Looks like a giant turtle. So you're going to 55th Avenue, right? Is that where you're going?
You're
right?
going to LaGuardia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, outside of, like I said, the weird mysticism with Splinter and projecting their chi or astral projection or whatever, there really isn't anything crazy about it. Aside from the fact that there's a mutant turtle rat gang in the sewers of New York.
It's that whole thing where you can't just introduce everything all at once, right? If you're gonna have a weird, crazy thing, okay, let's make the backdrop as normal as possible, and then here's this one crazy thing, which is the Ninja Turtles, right? Here's 4 or 5 crazy things, but really one crazy thing, right?
Mutants.
Oh, and hey, there's a crime syndicate. Okay, yeah, I'm down. Like, sure, the 80s or the 1990 in New York City. Sure, I believe there's a crime syndicate. Yeah. Only one. Weird.
There's probably one right now.
And then it's like, oh, they're actually, and then it introduces the next weird thing, which is, oh, they're actually a ninja clan.
Well, they're a feeder system for a ninja Foot Clan. Yeah,
yeah, that's great. And so it just slowly adds to it. The comics are. The cartoon or whatever also kind of does the same thing. It just escalates quicker. And the problem is that every version of the Ninja Turtles has to go and tell their origin story again, right? Like the original cartoon, the original live action movie, the 2003 cartoon, the 2012 cartoon, Mutant Mayhem, the Michael Bay movies, they all start with it's the same story. Right. Told in different ways, and it's just some moving parts, but the general idea is the same. This is completely different, and I'm reading up on it. Like I said, reading up on the characters. Apparently, like in episode 1, they're already friends with April, have been for years. Like it's just kind of leapfrogging a lot of stuff, like starting a little later in some of it, and I don't mind it. I would like more stories. Like let's move past the initial thing. Let's do more with the Turtles that doesn't involve Shredder. Let's bring in some of their other bad guys. And this like, oh, they had already defeated the Shredder, but now they got to fight the Utroms or the Krang, whatever we're going to call them. I don't know.
But that was like a big complaint with the Batman with Robert Pattinson. It's like, do we really need to tell Batman's origin at all? Every time they reboot that franchise or that character, like, oh, well, guess what? his parents get shot. Surprise.
I mean,
but everyone knows who Batman is.
For the most part, and I think that you're always gonna have some kids who are getting exposed to the first time.
Yeah, but you're not going to show.
But
if
but
that's the case,
that's the thing. That's movie's a perfect example of what I'm saying, where they show the origin very quickly. You get the idea, and then it's years later. It's not how it doesn't talk about how he becomes the Batman. It's just a Batman story, and I would like to see that with the Turtles.
No,
I
agree.
just want to see a Turtles story.
Yeah.
Like we're cool. We can move past all that. I don't know. I thought that movie was great.
Oh no, I liked the Batman. I'm just saying, like we didn't need that opening sequence.
Maybe
because everyone knows who the Batman is. Like, and yeah, fair. If you are unfamiliar with his work, maybe you shouldn't start with that one.
Unfamiliar with
if your 10-year-old's like, I want to watch Batman. Like, cool.
Well,
let's watch
that one.
Let's watch the darkest one, honey.
Yeah, let's watch the most messed up.
Yeah. What you do is you don't watch that one. I mean, I wouldn't even. Probably even watch the 1989 one because that one's spooky in its own right.
Yeah.
You watch the animated cartoon.
Yeah. I get you. I mean, I'm just saying they have to have, like, you can do the way they did it, where it's just quick and done with during the opening credits. I'm completely fine with that. I agree. They could do that every time.
I agree. I just didn't want it.
I care. I get you. I get you. So you said Idiot of the movie, Leonardo? Is that
of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely, of course.
I can't believe you're going to break your own rule.
What?
You're 100% breaking your own rule in that the Idiot of the movie is the leader of the Foot Clan who brings about the destruction of the Foot Clan and supposedly the rest of humanity.
That's true. However, that being
and Leonardo's
said,
15 years old. Like,
all that being said,
I
mean, had he just listened to his older brother?
Yeah.
Had he just not been a hothead?
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, it's like I said,
it's overconfident 15-year-old with mystic ninja powers.
I agree.
Sure.
Like I said, it really caught me off guard. Like their interactions, like
their relationship.
Like all together. I think, a lot of people give Mikey a lot of crap. I think there's a lot of people that really like Michelangelo. I am not necessarily one of them. I think he's fun enough. It's just like anything. When there's too much goofiness, I'm like, oh my god, enough.
Yeah.
And I I don't care, Michelangelo. Shut up. There's a lot of things with Donnie. There's people who like Donatello. There's people who don't.
Donatello's the best turtle. Sure.
Hard to disagree. But like for the most part, the people that don't like Leonardo usually are because they don't like him because he's stuffy, stuck up, and he's a brown noser. But in this case, he had a lot of Raphael's typical
without the anger.
He had
but it's just his typical personality, defiant, or character traits.
Loner type almost, like overconfident. It was really
super overconfident. Super overconfident. It's very different. Like I said, I don't hate it. Hopefully they do something else. For right now, all we're gonna do is get Mutant Mayhem movies, or I assume the next one's not gonna be called Mutant Mayhem, but whatever they call it, I'm fine with that too. Every 2-3 years, I'm good with that for a while. There's just so much content out there for the Turtles. Yeah. Especially when it comes to cartoons, that a break is fine. We're going to continue Ninja Turtles month. Oh, sorry. Did you have anything else before I?
I was just going to say, like, I know that you said you didn't watch the series Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, not at all.
Out of all the ones that you've watched, which is your if you were going to rank the animated, the animated shows and movies?
Sure.
Which one's what do you think's your top one?
Let's talk about that after next week.
Oh.
So next week we watch. Next we're watching Turtles Forever, which is the capstone movie to the 2003 Ninja Turtles storyline or cartoon or whatever.
And that ran, you said, from 03 to 09.
I'm not entirely sure, actually. Let's look it up.
First episode aired February 8th, 2003, ended November 21st, 2009. Yep.
There you go, 6 years. And I believe, when did Turtles Forever come out? 2009. It serves as an actual 4-part finale. It's kind of the same idea, so let's watch that. And then we can talk about our favorite and least favorite cartoons. Although I think in all of this, we're not touching the 2012 cartoon at all. So maybe we should throw in that first episode.
And that's the one that
it's
got
the CGI
a movie.
One.
right?
Say again?
That's the one that got the 3D movie.
No.
It looks like it.
Yeah, they're completely different.
Interesting.
The 3D movie is a sequel to the live action movies. And
2007. I think I keep saying
2007.
2009.
I think I said 09 last time, and then
Yeah.
we haven't corrected me. I was wrong. Yeah, so they're completely separate. And then 5 years later, you come out with the
Gotcha.
Nickelodeon cartoon. Yeah, they look similar because they're Ninja Turtles and they're CGI, but other than that, they're completely different.
That's fair.
But yeah, maybe we should watch an episode. Maybe we can watch like the 2-part intro episode to the 2012 to get the full picture.
I think one of the things I suggested is we watch the pilots for each of the animated shows,
Well, let's do that then.
which might just be a lot.
I don't know, man. They're each 20 minutes.
Yeah.
There's what, 4 of them?
1,
One,
2,
two,
3,
three,
4,
four?
5.
What's the 5th one?
Well, there's 87, Next
Uh-huh.
Mutation,
Oh,
2003.
well, Next Mutation's that live action crap. We don't have to watch that.
Yeah,
We
fair
can
enough.
skip it. We can see. My brother for Christmas this past year bought me the DVD set for that. So if
What
you really want to
about-
watch it, you can
What
borrow it.
about Usagi? When are we gonna watch Usagi?
Find me some Usagi.
He's the
Usagi,
rabbit, right?
Yeah, Usagi September. Bring it to me. Put it in my veins.
What about the Cowboys of Moo Mesa?
Let's do. We're gonna do Turtles Forever, and we'll discuss offline whether or not we want to watch the pilot episode for each of them. I think most of them end in a cliffhanger in that pilot episode. I think they're all 2-parters. I don't remember 100%, but you'd at least get the idea of the different animation, the different feel for it, that type of thing. Could be fun. Otherwise, we are filling up our schedule for things post the 39.5 anniversary of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We got some listener suggestions on the horizon. If you have anything you would like us to watch or review or talk about, you can send it our way, scifiwiseguys@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on all the social medias at scifiwiseguys.
You don't have a wise guy for this movie?
It's obviously Raphael.
Well, I was gonna zag
Oh,
and say Leonardo also is the wise guy for this movie.
old man Leonardo? Sure.
His idea to go back in time.
That's true. When
say-
there's the ninja's greatest weapon is hope or something. I don't remember what he said.
I feel like it would be some kind of blade, something with an edge that could.
Some form of shuriken that doesn't miss.
Yeah. Stay healthy, stay hydrated, and remember, always listen to your older brother.
Always.
And don't let the Krangs open up a dimensional portal.
Yeah, don't let the Cranes open up a dimensional portal. I think that's a good one. That's a good one. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Eagle has landed.
It's World Elephant Day.
Why am I supposed to remember that? Don't the elephants remember that for me?
I'm not remembering it. It's what Time Dot is telling me.
Oh. Okay.
If I was an elephant, I might have remembered that it was World Elephant Day. Is my point.
That was the joke.